Hello everyone, thank you very much for clicking and for watching the video. So you've seen the thumbnail, I haven't made the thumbnail just yet, but I can imagine what it looks like. This video is so far detached from what we usually do on this channel. It is unbelievable. I had a comment not too long ago, somebody put, politely from what I could gather, that I was the stingiest or the tightest game collector on YouTube. 100% accurate. I can't deny it. I'll wear that badge with pride. We don't spend any money whatsoever around here. So to have what I am hoping is a sealed UK PAL version of Rule of Rose on the PlayStation 2 in this box would be absolutely fantastic. So how did this come to be about in my possession of all people? So basically, I don't know how many people know this. I think the majority of people do, but just in case, basically, weeks and weeks ago, I woke up one morning, had a look on Facebook, I believe it was, and there was a story about how this pallet, this box, this crate, a large amount, whatever it is, of sealed Rule of Rose games had been found in Italy. Now, 505 Games made Rule of Rose, and they were based in Italy, and apparently in one of those old warehouses they worked in, they'd found an undistributed crate, or whatever it is, of all these games. And I thought, wow, that sounds fantastic, too good to be true, ignore that, that's just a weird story. Day or two later, I started to see this story still talking, and I was like, okay, this has got some legs to it. And they started to say, no, these are real, and they're being distributed by a shop in Italy, and it had actually been going on for a little while. I thought, okay, fair enough, still ignored it. Then I went on and I started to see people saying that they'd actually purchased them in the UK and that they were legitimately real. And then they started to show the seller on eBay. So I took a look at the seller, and yeah, it's a proper seller, it's a proper store. And most importantly, they've got feedback, and they've got feedback on that item, not one or two, a good amount of them. And everyone had basically said that, yeah, this is legitimately real. And you could tell the comments were sort of from collectors because they were addressing what we're thinking about. Do you know what I mean? Saying it is genuine, the cases are fine, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, still watching, I thought, okay, so maybe this is real. But then I started to see some videos of people that picked these things up and they were doing unboxings and openings and showing that they're real. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, fantastic. I'd heard of this happening before, but I thought that is absolutely fantastic. So now there's all these copies of Rule of Rose that have popped up, plus big thing, CEX, the stock in CEX, especially the mint section, which we all know is nigh on impossible to get them to take. Certainly out of nowhere, Rule of Rose, there's mint copies all over the shop. So they were real, so I thought, that's absolutely fantastic, that's brilliant. And then I started to think to myself, well, I'd love a copy of that, but that's not the way I do things. I can't really justify spending that much money on a game ever, really, which will be contradicted in a moment. But I just thought, isn't it fantastic that, you know, they're out there now? And I thought to myself, I really, really want a copy of Rule of Rose. I mean, the PS2, I love horror, but like the upper echelons of PS2, your Quan, your Michigan, your Rule of Rose. Rule of Rose is the one I always wanted. But I just thought to myself, well, I'm never going to get a copy because that's not the way I do things, because this is a free game collection. If someone's going to buy it and then sell it to me at a car boot for £1, I'll get hold of it. If not, this isn't for me. And do you know what? I changed my mind. I decided I really, really wanted a copy of this. This is just for me. I don't spend, as you know, hardly any money whatsoever on games. I don't usually do anything like this, but yeah, I decided, you know what, for me, I'm going to get this for myself, and I've gone and got it. So I thought, instead of me just opening it in the corner on my own, enjoying it myself, plus it might be a bit odd if a Rule of Rose sealed copy suddenly appears behind me at some point in time. People might ask, hang on a second, where'd that come from? I thought, you know what, let's turn the camera on quickly and we'll open it together, shall we? See if it's any good. So let's crack on and do that together. Okay, so I've changed the camera angle so you should be able to see this much, much better now, and you haven't got to look at my face. So let's get old Stanley out and let's get this open. So yeah, I'll put an image of the eBay seller around me now so you can see where I got this from, but I can't remember the exact amount, to be honest with you. It was over £300, but I'll put an image there so you can see it. But yeah, so like I say, CEX is still selling this for about £400, which, you know, it's a lot of money, isn't it? Like I said, I never really spend, well, I never had. This definitely going to be the most expensive game in my collection by a landslide. Fingers crossed. So that should have took care of that. So let me put that down there. Right, let's get this open. There we go. It's quite light, this box, to be honest with you, but that's what you'd expect if it's just got a PS2 game. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't seem to have any personal details in that packet. I mean, it's all right, isn't it, for what it is package wise? There seems to be, okay, there's a bit of arbitrary wrap on top with what appears to be a package in a package. There we go. So let's move that out of the way. Right, pass the parcel out. Right, let's take this out. Okay, it's not, all right, so he hasn't closed it. Right, ready? Fingers crossed. God, could you imagine if it's a copy like FIFA 08 or something? Ah, okay. There we go. Oh, lovely. Well, it's certainly, definitely sealed that, isn't it? Right, let me do it so you can see it just as much. There we go. Right, so I am no expert when it comes down to telling if a game is real or not, but I have handled a lot of games in my time. I haven't handled a sealed PS2 game, however, for a very, very long time. So there's the, if you can see that, there's the Union Jack as the UK PAL version. I mean, it feels, it's got a good weight to it. It's a nice weight, it's a good weight. So this seal here is quite important, and it runs through the seal that you open up. So we've got, yeah, so okay, so there's a slight, it's slightly sort of coming away just there, but I mean, I'm not too bothered by that. And I mean, let's face it, if this has been sitting in a box for 20 odd years, it must be, if it's, you'd expect some of the plastic to move slightly, wouldn't you, I'd assume? But I mean, it feels great. So it's definitely, the artwork, I mean, the quality of the front cover looks spot on. That doesn't look like any reproduction cover I've ever seen. It's a genuine PS2 case. You can usually tell because they have this little lip at the top here, sort of overhangs and then disappears down this left-hand side. So that's absolutely, yeah, the print quality on it, yeah, that looks like every single PS2 game I have ever seen. That's upside down for you, isn't it? That looks really nice. And again, usually, yeah. So usually when they're fake cellar wrapped, they sort of flake up here as well from where it's cheap cellophane and they haven't done a great job. This is completely sealed. This is down. That ain't going nowhere. PS2 holographic, yeah, that looks fine to me. That looks like all the other ones I've seen. I mean, I did get myself a 505 game. This is, what is this? This is Dodgeball, for a little comparison. Yeah, it's a slight, oh no it isn't, it's just me, it's me not moving it properly. They look exactly, I mean, look at the spacing between the end of the fonts. That looks absolutely spot on. Yeah, I'm trying to find a reason for it to be faked. I'm trying to see what there is about it that would make you think that it's not a genuine copy for sale. The only thing that people point out is that sometimes, and again, I haven't seen a wrapped PS2 game for many times, but you used to have PS2 like on the part that you pull off. But quite a lot of people pointed out that it shouldn't actually be there because this is a later release on the PS2, and a lot of games stopped doing that towards the end. So for it to be clear would actually make sense, and not every game did that anyway. So I mean, yeah, I mean, don't get, I'm happy. You got the numbers at the bottom. I mean, there's no reason. No, there's no reason for me to think this isn't legitimate. Now, I know what you're thinking. Go on then, open it. Right, I'm not going to open it. Like I say, I have not bought this game for YouTube content. I have bought this game for me. This is a very pricey game and I want to keep it sealed. So that's that. I'm keeping it. So I am 100% happy that this is a genuine copy. So just to confirm, there are sealed copies of Rule of Rose out there on eBay at a much lower price than what CEX are charging. And this is what they're like. And I'm very confident that this is a legitimate copy. That looks absolutely fantastic, but I'm not opening it. However, like I said at the start, there are people that have opened these up. I will put a link in the description to one of the videos that, but there's one good, I do apologise. I didn't actually take note of his name before I started doing this. I'll put a link in there with the guy that opened them up, and he did a very good job of showing you what these look like in the inside. But for me, this is for me. I'm keeping this bad boy sealed. I'm looking after this. I'm gonna get a case for it. I've never bought a case for a game, but I'm gonna get one of those game cases to look after it. But yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits. That is not a copy of FIFA 08, and as I'm talking to you now, I'm still trying to find something that looks dodgy about it. But like I say, handled a lot of PS2 games in my time, and there's nothing Nothing that looks dodgy here at all. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Rule of Rose is now in my collection. Gone about it completely differently to how I usually do, but you know what? Absolutely chuffed to bits with that. Fantastic. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. Take care of yourselves.